My name is Helen Mosley. I'm 36 years old. And the call came at 2:47 in the morning. The night nurse said, "She's asking for you. Your brother told us you'd moved to Oregon." I had been sitting in my mother's hospice room 12 hours earlier. I have never been to Oregon in my life. What I found on that bedside table 40 minutes later, that's the reason I'm telling you this story at all. But I'm not going to describe it yet. Because the order matters. The order is everything. My mother was Patricia Mosley. She taught third grade for 31 years. Even at the end, when her shoulders had stopped cooperating, her hands still knew how to hold a pencil. She still corrected the way I crossed my T's. Pancreatic cancer is the kind that arrives late and leaves early. By the time we knew, she had 6 to 8 weeks. She made it into hospice on a Tuesday. I came that night. I came every night after. The drive was 22 minutes if the lights cooperated, 26 if they didn't. I had measured it. By the end, I had parked in the same row, third spot from the lamp, 46 times in 48 days. The night staff knew my car. The cleaning lady knew my car. I bought 2 cups of juice every night from the machine at the end of the hall. One for me. One for the trash. I never explained that habit to myself. And then, 3 Tuesdays before everything changed, my brother flew in. Leland was 38. He lived out west. He worked in finance, or had until recently. The details were always a little vague when he told them. I hadn't learned to listen for the vagueness yet. He told me he was here for as long as it took. I thought that was a tender thing to say. Most things sound tender when you want them to. He took the day shift. I took nights. We barely overlapped. That was, I would learn later, the entire point. The first night I came in after Leland arrived, the night nurse, Brenda, looked up from her log and smiled. Not a real smile. A nurse station smile. "You're 47 for 49, sweetheart," she said. "The cleaning lady asks about you." I went down the hall to room 312. Leland was in the visitor's chair in a buttoned collar shirt. He smelled like sandalwood. A man wearing cologne in a hospice room is a man who hasn't sat in one long enough. He was closing his laptop when I walked in. One motion. The way you close a book you don't want someone to see the cover of. He stood. He hugged me. He said, "Hell, I've been doing the paperwork. Don't worry about any of that." "What paperwork?" "Insurance stuff, hospice forms. You've got too much on your plate." I didn't have anything on my plate. My plate had been, for 49 days, this room. But I didn't say that. I sat with Mom. She opened her eyes. "There you are." "There I am." She closed them again. Leland said, "Stay as long as you want. I'll grab dinner." He didn't grab dinner. He walked to the parking lot with his laptop. 3 weeks in, on a Wednesday night, I opened the bedside drawer to put in the day's mail and I found something I hadn't put there. A day planner. Spiral bound. The kind teachers used to buy at the supply store. My mother's name in her school teacher's slant on the inside cover. Patricia A. Mosley. The letters tilted right. The way she'd taught third graders to tilt their cursive in 1988. She had been writing in it. Recently, not every day but most. Short entries. Shaky hand. I flipped to the previous Tuesday. Helen brought soup, stayed till 9. Wednesday, Helen brought magazines. The crossword one. Thursday, Helen stayed late. We watched the rain. Friday, Leland called. Did not visit. Saturday, Helen's soup. Sunday, Helen. Leland argued in the hall about something. Helen left at 10. I closed it. I put it back in the drawer. I sat with my hand resting on top of it for a full minute. At the time, I thought it was sweet. I thought, my mother is the kind of woman who makes a list of who came. I did not think she was making the list for a reason. That was my error. I won't pretend it wasn't. On a Saturday night, I came in around 10 and ran into one of the newer CNAs outside room 312. She brightened when she saw me. "Oh." Mrs. Mosley's sister. From Oregon. He said you were flying in tonight. We weren't expecting you so soon. I did not move for a second. I used the polite half-smile I keep for when a client says something that is mathematically incorrect. I live 20 minutes away, I said. I've been here every night since intake. Her smile faltered. She looked at the chart. Oh. Mr. Mosley said you'd relocated for work in August. He's been telling us you weren't able to come. I asked where Brenda was. Brenda was at the nurse station. She had her visitor log open and a fresh cup of coffee. She looked up. She read whatever was on my face. She turned the log around so I could see it. 47 nights. My name. Every single one. Then she pulled out a second binder, the floor's communication log, and turned to entries from August 14th on. Leland had told the day staff I had moved. He had told the social worker. He had told the chaplain. He had told 3 CNAs. He had been telling everyone for 3 weeks. I sat down in the rolling chair. I did not cry. I was a senior accountant at a regional. I had not cried at a desk since I was 23. Brenda said very quietly, "If you ever need this log, sweetheart, the chart is the chart." The call came on a Wednesday, 2:47 a.m. Brenda's voice, Helen. "Your mother's asking for you by name. Your brother left at midnight. He told the front desk you wouldn't be coming." "I'm coming." I figured. I drove. I didn't brush my hair. The street lights on Highway 14 were yellow at that hour, blinking in long, slow sequences for nobody. I made 28 minutes in 24. Room 312 was lit only by the bathroom light. Mom was on her side, the way she liked, lips moving, saying my name in the slow loop people use in fever. Helen. 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 Like a metronome forgetting the rest of the song. "I'm here, Mom. I'm here." Her eyes fluttered, closed. I sat in the visitor's chair. The cushion had a dent on the right side, closest to the bedside table. And on that table, a yellow legal pad I had never seen before. Top page, full of handwriting. A single strip of light from the hallway fell across it like someone had laid down a yellow ruler. I leaned forward. I read the first line. I read the second line. My hands went very evenly from warm to cold. I, Patricia Ann Mosley, of sound mind, leave the entirety of my estate, real and personal, to my son, Leland James Mosley. 4 pages. The house. The brokerage account. The savings. The safe deposit box. No other heir. No daughter. No Helen. The signature on the last page was my mother's. Shaky. Lopsided. The kind of signature a person makes when their hand has stopped fully cooperating with their will. I knew that shake. I had watched her sign her life insurance update 3 weeks earlier. The signature was real. The body of the will was not. Here's what gave him away. My brother had a tell. He'd had it since high school. His lowercase y. He pulled the tail down past the next line, like he was trying to reach the floor. My mother's y was a short cursive curl, closed back on itself. Her y had been the same since 1988. I know this because I have a refrigerator covered in her grocery lists. I have saved them since I moved out at 22. Across those 4 pages, 47 Ys. Every single one was Leland's. I didn't read the document a second time. I took out my phone. The first photograph was at 3:12 a.m. The room was so quiet, I could hear the camera click in my own chest. 4 more shots for clean angles. Then I put my phone in my pocket, and I sat with my mother's hand in mine, and I waited for the sun to come up. I waited for Leland. He came back at 6:40 with a coffee from the highway chain, the green logo one. Quarter zip. He looked rested. He had slept. I had not slept in 28 hours. I met him in the parking lot. "Hell, what are you doing out here?" "I have the photographs." He stopped. His face did the thing faces do when they're calculating a new plan very fast. It went completely still for about a second and a half. I watched it like a slow shutter. Then he resettled. "Hell, listen. Mom's been confused for weeks. She wanted things settled. I was just holding the pen. She told me what to write. In your handwriting. I was. The wise. Lee. He blinked. He hadn't planned for the wise. He looked briefly at his own hand on the coffee cup. He set it on the hood of his rental car. His breath made a small cloud near the dumpster. The cloud was thinner than mine. Hell, he said, starting over. I'm broke. Madison took everything. There's a thing at work, I just need a little time. Mom would want. Mom keeps a planner. What? She has been writing in it the entire time. She knows who came. She knows who didn't. She knows you didn't visit on Friday. She knows we argued in the hall on Sunday. She knows what she signed and what she hasn't. She knows. He didn't answer. The coffee cup tipped off the hood. Neither of us picked it up. I'll be back at 7, I said. For what? That isn't your question to ask anymore. I called my cousin Carol at 7 a.m. Carol Whitlock was 41. Probate paralegal. County 2 over. She had been close as kids and middling as adults, the way cousins are. She listened to me describe the legal pad for 3 full minutes without a word. Then she said one word. Holographic. What? That's what it's called. A holographic will, handwritten. Some states recognize them. Ours is one. But there's a trick. Tell me the trick. The whole document has to be in the testator's own handwriting. Every line. If the body is in Leland's hand, the instrument is void. Not contestable. Void. I sat for a second. Is that real? It's real. I've seen 3 of them get tossed in the last 2 years. Probate courts love precision. The law on holographic instruments is one of the cleanest things on the books. 2 names. Jonas Wexler, probate attorney. Mara Vendrell, forensic document examiner. I emailed Wexler at 8:12 a.m. He replied at 9:41 with one line. Bring your mother's prior writing samples. I would like to file an emergency motion if your timeline allows. What followed were the 3 most methodical weeks of my life. I cross-referenced the planner against Brenda's visitor log, 2 independent sources, 18 months of data, 96% match. The 4% gap was nights Brenda's replacements had less complete entries. The planner filled them in. Leland filed a competing petition, a second will, typewritten, notarized, dated 14 months earlier. Looked clean on its face. Wexler read me the notary commission number over the phone. He was silent for 90 seconds. I could hear him typing. 2-finger typing. The kind of man who learned in 1979. Helen. Yes. That commission expired 8 months before the date on this document. The notary was disciplined. Not renewed. Public record. Free lookup. He gave us a second forgery to explain the first one. That's the kind of mistake panic makes. Don't celebrate. Just file. Mara Vendrell, a woman in her early 70s who had testified in 241 cases, and told me this the way a librarian discusses her index system, called on day 10. The signature on page 4 matches Patricia Mosley's hand. The tremor matches her documented morphine pattern. The body of the document does not match her hand. Pages 1 through 4. Not in any sample I have. Leland's hand. Highly consistent. Slope. Pressure. Letter formation. How sure are you? Highly sure. That is the term I use when I am in plain language, sure. She paused. Your mother's writing is a teacher's writing. Tilts at 88 degrees. She was a good teacher. Yes. I'm sorry. Mr. Wexler will have my report by Monday. And then there was Maggie. The hospice chaplain. Margaret Lattimore. Late 60s. Quaker. 16 years at that hospice. She found me in the chapel on a Friday. Leland had also filed a petition to have my visiting rights restricted to supervised daytime hours only. Maggie sat in the pew in front of mine and did not turn around, which was the kindest thing anyone did for me that entire month. After a while, she said, I sit with your mother 3 times a week. She mentioned you. She mentioned a piece of paper. She had been logging it. 3 separate entries. 3 separate dates. My mother's own words. He brings me papers. I sign them so he goes. I've stopped reading them. My eyes are tired. He told the staff Helen left. He's lying. I taught 3rd grade. I know lying. Maggie had typed up the affidavit that morning. She'd had it notarized at her bank on the way to meet me. She noted dryly that she had verified the notary's commission before the visit. Witnessing isn't taking sides, Helen. It's refusing to pretend you didn't see. The Saturday before the hearing, my mother had a rally. Hospice nurses had warned me about them. They are not improvements. They are the body's last clean breath before the final descent. She woke at 3 p.m., like a person waking from a real sleep. Slow, unhurried, present. She turned to me. Her eyes were her eyes. Helen, sit closer. The light was coming through the west window at a steep angle, the slanted late summer light that turns the inside of a room the color of a paper lantern. 4 minutes of orange before the trees took it back. I had timed it. He keeps asking me to sign things, she said. Different papers, different days. I don't read them anymore. I just sign them so he leaves me alone. She paused. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I thought I could outlast him. Mom, he apologizes. Not you, he won't. I know. She opened her eyes again. The drawer. Take the planner tonight, keep it. It's yours. I opened the drawer. I put the planner on the bed. She rested her hand on it. I made a list, she said. I'm a teacher. We always make lists. I opened it to the last 2 weeks. Her writing was slower at the end, but legible. 14 of 14 nights, Helen. 4 entries for Leland. 3 of the 4 said the same thing. Asked about money. You knew? I knew, sweetheart. I just didn't have the breath to fight it. So I wrote it down, the way I made the 3rd graders write the spelling words. If you write it down, it's true. If it's true, it stays true. She smiled then. Tell Mr. Wexler I said hello when you see him. I went to high school with his sister. Then she fell asleep with the planner on her chest. The county probate courtroom was small. 2 rows of pews on each side. A wooden bench. A ceiling fan that tilted slightly off true, so it wobbled instead of spinning, the way a bird's head tilts when it hears a sound it doesn't trust. Judge Warren Hartley. 67. Raised Quaker. A face that had been sitting on probate cases for 31 years. Leland came in with an attorney from a firm 2 states over. A man in a suit too sharp for the room. Wexler set 1 folder on the table. Manila. Blue tab labels. Leland's attorney went first. 15 minutes. He used the word intent 11 times. He called the forged document Patricia's true testament. He did not call a single witness. He rested. Wexler stood. He did not button his coat. Your Honor, the petitioner has submitted 2 instruments. We are prepared to demonstrate that neither survives basic statutory scrutiny. He opened the folder. Exhibit A. Visitor log. Notarized. 47 of 49 nights, Helen Mosley. 4 of 49, Leland Mosley. Exhibit B, Brenda Hutchkins. 1 question. Across 7 weeks of Patricia Mosley's care, who visited at night? Helen Mosley. Every night I worked, I was off the other 2. Step down. Exhibit C, Patricia Mosley's personal day planner. 18 months. Authenticated. Cross-referenced. Exhibit D, Maggie's chaplain affidavit. 3 dated statements. Signed. Current commission. Exhibit E, Mara Vendrell, forensic document examiner. By video. 12 minutes. Body of the holographic instrument, highly inconsistent with Patricia Mosley's documented handwriting. Highly consistent with Leland Mosley's. Signature on typewritten will, same tremor, same hand, same day as the holographic signature. Exhibit F. Notary commission expiration record. 8 months prior to the date of execution. The presentation took 47 minutes. Wexler sat down and folded his hands. Leland's attorney asked for a recess. 20 minutes. I stood in the hallway with Wexler. He drank water from a paper cone and said nothing. Through the doorway, I could see Leland and his attorney arguing in low voices. Leland's hand was on the attorney's elbow. The attorney was shaking it off. Leland's collared shirt had a small dark mark on the front placket. He had been sweating. The attorney approached Wexler in the corridor. We're prepared to stipulate to intestate distribution. Both instruments withdrawn. Estate passes by statute, Wexler said. Your client may withdraw whatever he wishes. I will be making my closing on the record. I want the court's findings on this document, not a private agreement that lets your client save face. The court goes on the record, or my client goes home. The attorney went back in. He conferred with Leland. Leland's hand came up to his face once and dropped. He nodded. Judge Hartley took 10 minutes. He had typed his findings during the recess. He read them in the voice he might have used to read aloud to a grandchild. The instrument styled as a holographic will fails on its face. The body of the document is not in the testator's hand, pages 1 through 4, by clear and convincing evidence. The signature alone is insufficient under this state's holograph statute. The instrument is void. The typewritten instrument, styled as a confirming will, fails for improper execution. The notary public whose stamp appears on the document held no commission on the date of execution. The witness signatures are unidentifiable and cannot be authenticated. The instrument is void. Both instruments are stricken. The estate of Patricia Ann Mosley shall pass by intestate succession. The court takes no pleasure in this finding. But the law on holographic instruments is precise for a reason. Adjourned. Leland did not look at me. I did not look at Leland. Wexler closed his folder. We did not celebrate. In the parking lot, he shook my hand once. You won the case you needed to win. Yes. Don't try to win one you don't. Go to your mother. I drove straight to the hospice. Brenda was at the station. She didn't say anything. She walked with me down the hall, slower than I was walking, and when we got to room 312, she touched my shoulder once and stepped back. Mom was sleeping, afternoon light on her hands. I sat on the edge of the bed. I opened the planner to the last entry. A Tuesday, 2 weeks before. Helen brought soup. Stayed till 9. I closed the planner. I placed it on her chest. I closed her hands around it. Her hands closed the way they used to close around a pen during recess, pure muscle memory. She didn't open her eyes, but her hands knew what they were holding. She passed 3 days later. 4:18 on a Saturday morning. Brenda was on shift. Brenda was the one who held her hand. The planner was still on her chest. Brenda took it off, folded it into the Ziploc the hospice uses for personal effects, walked it to the nurse station, and called me at 4:21. She let go. It was easy. I'll be here when you get here. I drove 28 minutes. The estate took 4 months to close. Intestate distribution with 2 surviving children, equal halves. Leland received approximately $340,000. I received approximately $340,000. Wexler called the day the final check cleared. I want to be clear about something. Yes, you won the case you needed to win. You did not win the punishment some part of you might have wanted. The court does not exist to punish brothers. The court exists to stop the worst things from happening. The worst thing did not happen. I know. The law isn't poetic. It just stops the worst things. Don't appeal. Don't contest. Don't sue him civilly. You'd win. You'd take 3 years to win it. Your mother is not 3 years available to be remembered. I won't. I put $15,000 into a scholarship at Henderson Elementary in her name. It pays for school supplies for 1 third grader every year. The principal, a former student of hers, sends me a short note every August. On yellow legal pad. In blue ballpoint. He told me when we set it up, she taught me cursive. I still write on yellow. I don't think he and Brenda know each other. I think the world just decides sometimes to use the same color pen for kindness. 3 months after the funeral, a Christmas card arrived. Red envelope. Return address, a P.O. box in a town I'd never heard of. Signed Leland, his full name. I put it in the bottom kitchen drawer. With the stamps and the rubber bands. I have never opened it. I expect I'll throw it away someday. I expect it will be a Tuesday in March, when I'm cleaning out the drawer for some other reason. I have not spoken to my brother. I don't expect I will. I don't feel cruel about this. I don't feel righteous. I feel like a woman who set a table down where it belonged and walked into the next room. Some boundaries don't need to be announced. They just need to be kept. If this story sat with you, leave one word in the comments. Just one. The word for what you think she earned. I'll read every single one. 2 years later, I drove back to that hospice on a Wednesday evening in September. I had a paper bag of warm wool socks. Brenda had called a week earlier. The night shift was always short on socks for patients in their last days. Feet get cold first, she said. The unit budget never covers them. I brought 30 pairs. I bought them at the same supply store where my mother had bought her grade book. Brenda took the bag with both hands and said, "Sweetheart, you didn't have to." "I know. Sit a minute." I sat. We did not talk much. We never had. The lemon pledge smell was the same. The juice machine was the same. The second click still sounded like an offended cough. I drove home at midnight. Down Highway 14. The yellow blink at Route 9 was the same yellow blink it had been at 2:47 in the morning the night Brenda called me. I did not pull over. I did not cry. I turned on the radio after a while. There was a song my mother had liked, the hymn I'd heard at the kitchen sink in 1986, playing on the late-night station. I let it play to the end. Then I drove the rest of the way home in silence. Some calls you spend the rest of your life thanking the caller for. I never told Brenda that. I think she knows.